გამარჯობათ მეგობრებო, ეს გადაცემა გამო-სავალია, მე კი მისი წამყვანი რევაზ ბეროზაშვილი. დღევანდელ გადაცემაში მინდა შემოგთავაზოთ ძალიან განსხვავებული სტუმარი, ის არის უკრაინის სრულუფლებიანი ელჩი სერბეთში, ბატონი ვლოდიმირ ტოლკაჩი. მე მოვიწევ მას სტუდიაში და სამწუხაროდ გადაცემა იქნება არა ქართულ ენაზე, არამედ ინგლისურ ენაზე, ამიტომ შემდეგ შევეცდებით რომ თარგმნოთ გადაცემა ქართულად. Mr. Ambassador, first of all, welcome. Thank you for agreeing to participate in our TV program. As I know time is limited, so with your permission, I want to go directly to the questions. And with our interview, the first question that we are interested is that the whole world, and especially the citizens of Georgia, are following the these peace talks with interest, with great interest. And I don't know what we can really said about these talks. And at this stage, I think maybe it's a bit early, but something probably we can still say. So please give us your opinion about the first phase of negotiations and what is first impressions, let's say.
Thanks. Yes, it's some crucial time for all of us, and all of us would like to live in peace and fruitful cooperation between all our neighbors. Unfortunately, last more than 10 years, we have this war with Russian Federation. I think that you also have this maybe not very good practice in your country, as well as a lot of our neighbors. I mean, Moldova, and so on. So, and in this case, our war, that full-scale aggression began on 24th of February in 2024. Now it's more than 3 years that we have to defend our country. And last year, we are evident a lot of exchanges in this work. First of all, the position of one of our allies, the United States. The new president would like to do it very quickly. Sometimes the statement of the American side is not very clear and understandable for us. And the same situation with this decision to receive in Alaska. In our mind, it's military crime. Putin, who had talked before our President Zelensky. So today we are in the process and try to understand how it would be in the future, because situation is very difficult. But what I can emphasize today and turn your attention for one today, in this situation, we may we positively assess the join of all European allies. First of all, the European Union countries that that give us possibility to think positive about our future. We very good understand that today Russia is not only enemy for Ukraine. We are on the front line of this process, but all our neighbors, Western neighbors, very good understand that Russia is enemy for all of them. And in this case, we look forward for some negotiations That's stated today, but we see that the great European countries, first of all, who took part in the meeting, after the meeting between President Zelensky and President Trump, all of them have their consolidated position that help us. And in this case, we are looking forward what would be after the direct talk between our President Zelensky and Putin. Let's see how it would be. I understand that the American side tried to be very quickly and hurry with all these things, but I'm not sure that it would be very easy talk. Our constitution doesn't give any possibility to exchange territories between countries. So in this case, nobody can decide to exchange territory for peace, and it's first. And in this case, we are looking how to return back our territories. I think in this case, we are very near to the interest of Georgia. Second, we passed a lot of things, and Budapest summit, Budapest memorandum that gave us guarantee about our territorial integrity and independent, signed by all the group, all countries who take part now in this situation, is lost, totally lost. It's nothing for all of us. And nobody from Ukraine wouldn't see the need. Second Budapest summit. And maybe you saw today the statement of the Polish side. They told that it's not a good example to sign next Budapest memorandum. So let's see how it would be. Me personally, I can't be pessimist in this situation. We need to be optimists, because our brothers, our defenders, our militants on the line of front line, now under the enemy all day long, all this time, and they also might be part of this negotiation, because they strongly reject any possibility to stop this war in this line. Let's see how it would be. So situation is very difficult, but I think this situation, our situation in Ukraine, would be influenced for other so-named post-Soviet republics, because we are not alone. After we are waiting for an election in Moldova, we are waiting the situation in Kazakhstan, Azerbaijan. For me personally, because my diplomatic career began in Georgia, I am looking very carefully for Georgia, because it's my second motherland in this case.
Thank you, Mr. Ambassador. And just to make more clarity, of course, I know that not everything we can discuss openly, but if we just try to say something openly about the talks, what can be considered as a victory for Ukraine, or what could be considered as a loss for Russia, for Ukraine in these talks? I mean, are we talking about the status quo for 1991 or something else? So what can be really, say, in this stage?
You see, the best solution for Ukraine today, it would be the return back to our boundary, officially recognized boundary. It's mean the boundary of 1991. I'm not very like this determination boundary 1991 because it's official boundary of Ukraine as international recognized boundary. This boundary also recognized by Russian Federation and not only recognized but signed and ratified in the 2004, and the treaty about partnership, friendship with Russia also signed in 1997. But today we also understand that the paper cost much more than all that we wrote in this paper with Russian Federation. But really, it's what we have for today. So we need to begin this talk from this one. Second, we also try all this time, we try to seek some kind of compromise with Russia. Maybe you remember that we try to separate the Black Sea Fleet on two sides. It was one of the compromise with Russian Federation. We gave them the possibility to have a marine base in Sevastopol and some other parts of Crimea and so on, so on. So it was compromise. Russia broken all this agreement and unfortunately mentioned before Budapest Memorandum when we rejected to have all nuclear weapons and thought that the guarantees for our integration, territorial integrity would be enough. You see, today we also very good understand that without some other agreement, first of all, agreement with our allies, for us it would be the best to be the member of the NATO as a defense bloc, but or have some more concrete and understandable and clear guarantee for all our allies. Maybe some kind of provision that wrote on the Article 5th of the NATO agreement, maybe some other, but really good one. The presence, for example, the presence of allies military unit of our based on our territory or something else. Let's see how it would be. I told you now about from what we try to be.
But if we see this picture, what we have for today, can we say that Europe is really woke up and they are more defending Ukraine? What I want to say is that it seems like this talks much easier to defense position of Ukraine for Europeans rather than for USA. But it may be just kind of first impression. I don't know. What I want to say is that does Europe capable, or what is their credibility, or what will be their credibility if they will not defend Ukraine position for now? Because Ukraine, war in Ukraine, it's part of Europe also, and it's totally or drastically changing the geopolitical architecture in Europe and European countries. So they know that some of the country of NATO can be the next if Ukraine will give up. This is something that they know, they understand finally. But what we can say about the USA, for now it seems like they want quick results. But quick results, as you mentioned, it will be very hard because, I mean, compromise. And when we are talking about the compromise, that's, I can say like joke that, okay, if we will put on the table, or Ukraine will put on the table that, okay, Ukraine can give, for example, Crimea, but get Alaska as a one state of Ukraine, what USA will say. Of course, it's a joke, but anyway, when we are talking about the territorial changes, which was recognized internationally, it's very hard, I understand. But also previously I hear that there was discussion, some compromise, which include kind of Korean model, like North and South. So some territories will be freezed, they will be recognized still as a Ukraine, but they will be under Russian influence. And the rest part of Ukraine, let's say a north part, will be in NATO and European Union. I'm not sure if this is still actual, but I hear many times that kind of discussion was going on in European institutions and some part of Congress and Senate also in USA. So what do you know, and can we somehow, I know that at this stage will be very hard to understand what will be the compromise from Ukraine side, but I believe that some compromise still will be. And can we something say about what is the best case scenario and worst case scenario for a moment that can be discussed from Ukraine side?
What can I tell you? In my first life, I remember one determination. If formula has more than 3 factors that influence for this formula, this formula became not predictable. You may only say about some kind of possibility. What it's more possibility, what it's not. In this case, I may say that today we are living in some very interesting and very quickly changed situation. It's not only Ukraine and not only Georgia, as well as not only the United States. We see that all our circumstances before very quickly changed. It's first, and you see how very quickly changed the opinion about leaders of the country. It's first. Second, maybe 10, 15 years before, nobody, if president or leader of one of the countries say something, and in the morning and the evening change his opinion, it was an understated scandal for all of us. Today it's practice, very straight practice for all. So it's first what I can tell. Today it's very difficult to say what it would be tomorrow, but please put on this also the second. We are living not only on the field, and the battle not on the field. The information and disinformation may be more influenced to all of us, to all population of the world, than before. You see, Putin went to Alaska with some set of historical documents, historical documents that proved his position that the part of Ukraine is Russian. Before, nobody can understand it. Today, he made it. The head of Russian Secret Service, he is head of Russian Historical Society. It's also very interesting how it will. Anyway, what I can tell you that today we are living in the second old war, it's information war. And we are part of this war, and we need to be more clear. That's why I say a lot of words about this. Nobody can give you finally the concrete picture of all these things. Nobody can predict something. And unfortunately, we are living in this society, in this situation, all our countries and not only countries. Maybe today it's maybe more influent to Georgia, the assignment agreement between Azerbaijan and Armenia. What would be with your pipeline after a few years if under the control of United States they did try to construct this pipeline in this corridor? It's also a problem not only for Armenia and Azerbaijan and Turkey. It's a problem for all of us. So while I may say you that I'm not today, I'm not sure, and I cannot give you any clear answer what compromise we may do and how we may do. And understandable for all of us that we have very huge enemy. Its enemy has a lot of resources. Unfortunately for all of us, we assess and found these resources for Russian, because a lot of Ukrainian as well as Georgian and Azerbaijani citizens population worked in Siberia in this oil deposit and gas deposits. Today nobody tried to understand it and don't forget about this. I may only say you that today all of us try to understand how it works. Maybe Ukraine would be a good example. In my mind, if we have some rule and we are living in the international society, within the international society, we need to keep this rule and we need to defend it. Because after our situation, we will have some other word. I think nobody will try to violate. I don't know who will violate second this rule. I mean the UN principles or something else. So let's see how it would be. For me, it would be a good example that after huge powers, United Nations stated about before the beginning of this talk in Alaska about the principles of UN and the territorial integrity of Ukraine. So let's see. I only once more say you, nobody can give you some.
Okay, Mr. Ambassador, before, of course, we will have questions about the region and new geopolitical functions or redistribution. Also, we will talk about this the Zangezuri corridor, which will be probably defended by not sure for a moment, but at least USA militaries or by Europeans or whatever. But at least in this stage, we can say that Western politics come closer to the region. But firstly, I want to ask a couple of questions about the Serbia itself, because in Georgia, you know, we are in the situation where we have pro-Russian government and we are trying to protest after a stolen election in 2024. And still, we have quite a lot of problems. What we want to ask you, what is the situation in Serbia? Do they position civil society or active participants, politicians, protesters have a common vision or plan, because in Georgia we have problem of unity and the common vision, and then we are just trying to understand, can we I don't know, teach some good examples that can bring positive in Georgian situation. We study situation in Moldova, Belarus, and all the countries actually, even the Maidan in Ukraine. We are trying to study and get some good examples for us that brings benefit in our protest. So what can you tell us about the Serbian protesters?
I first of all, I catch your tongue and say one word. If we are speaking about teaching some experience of Serbia, I would like to return you back to the history of the beginning of this century. I mean 2001, 2002, to revolution in Georgia, as well as Orange Revolution in Ukraine. As I remember, it's named Revolution of Rose.
Yes, Revolution of Rose in 2003.
Yeah, 2004 it was Orange Revolution, but in this case I may refresh your memory and say that in those times we teach experience of Serbia. Then maybe you remember Serbian youth organization Otpor, who teach Georgian and Ukrainian para. In this case, we came back today. You ask what now can teach, what we can teach Serbian and what Serbian can teach us. So we always exchange our experience. Anyway, it's very funny for me, but this historical influence. But what can I tell you? The society of Serbia is very, very difficult. First of all, because the bombing in 1999, NATO bombing here, when NATO tried to defend ethnic groups, and it was today it's very difficult to say what it would be first, because before it was war with Croatia, a lot of problem with Bosnia and Herzegovina, and at least it was Kosovo and bombing of NATO. But this bombing was example when the Security Council, UN Security Council, didn't allow this operation, and Russian very often use this operation and say, if NATO can do it in Serbia, why I cannot do it in Ukraine? Or, for example, in 2008 in Georgia. It's first. So it's very funny. If somebody else violate national principle, it gives some opportunity to Russia to do it the same. Some principle is very interesting, but in Serbia now it's very strong anti-West motivation. Unfortunately, it's first. The finance and of European Union countries, first of all Germany, a lot of investments didn't give some strong impetus for pro-European side. Third, Serbia is candidate to European Union more than 10 years, and it's also produce a lot of pessimists here in Serbia. But at last, we have understand that the people in this country, first of all, young people in this country, tired with government, really tired with government who are staying in the power more than 10 years. It's first. Second, this government gave economically developed country the results very huge for this country. A lot of new factories, a lot of job, and so on. It's one of the very quick developed country in Europe. I mean Serbia. It also divides society for a few groups. Third, European Union gave investments, and Russians gave very huge influence for public. Well, one little example. Do you know Georgia, as I remember, very like football. Georgians very like football. The Serbians also very like football. That means that Crvena Zvezda is famous football team. Who is the huge investment of this team? Gazprom. Second team of this country, Partizan. The main investment of Partizan, it's named Naftova Industria Serbia. It's the oil industry of Serbia. But 56% of share of this company under the control of Gazprom. So you may see more popular teams of this country can provide all necessary information from Russian side. It's only one example. A lot of other examples I may give you, but if you try to play in Serbia, you will also play in a lot of things. Let's see. It's a very long talk with a lot of details. The situation with Kosovo. I am a little bit crazy because if you see the banner, Kosovo is Serbia, Crimea is Russia, you try to understand that you are crazy, how it might be in your mind. So I may say that a lot of things here is very difficult and complicated, and we must see. Today, young people try to, first of all, students try to change something. Sometimes they do it smart, sometimes with yours maximalisms and something else. Anyway, process is very difficult today. And I may only say that the President Vučić, quite smart in this case, he tried to seek compromise. Let's see.
Okay, and Mr. Ambassador, the not last but at least, I want to again return back to the region because there are a lot of challenges in this region. Of course, we are talking about the Caucasus, but normally the Eastern Europe is the one of the region, or we can say the Black Sea region. It's also the one region. There are different aspects of a region, how we will split and how we will recognize this as a region. But anyway, this Black Sea area, starting from Kazakhstan, ending with Ukraine, it is kind of corridor from Asia to Europe. And in these aspects, I want to highlight the big achievement of the Azerbaijan and Armenia, and especially with Armenia, who after give up with Gorny Karabakh, they also shake hands with Turk leaders, and now in the region, actually, Armenia is showing kind of democracy progress in Caucasus. Azerbaijan, no one asking Azerbaijan to be a democratic country, but at least they are somehow against to Russia. There is a big challenges actually, and Western politicians' concern is to defend the corridor in this region, which Azerbaijan, Armenia, and Turkey will connect different pipelines, for example. Nothing is yet signed, but there is big negotiation. And what I want to ask, how Ukraine see how you see, for example, this new geopolitical map for future coming 5 years or something, because I think this region will be more and more popular and interested for USA, for Europeans also, since also Merz made very big decision, says that after 2027 they will not anymore depend from Russian gas. So that's a big decision. So Europe needs some alternatives, and these alternatives should to come from somewhere in Europe. And in this case, I think new architecture will include also Ukraine, also Georgia, also Azerbaijan, Armenia, and maybe Kazakhstan also. But I want to hear from you, how do you see this? Because also we are talking about the NATO, we are talking about the European Union. European Union is understandable that every state wants to be a member of state, big unity like European Union. But in terms of NATO, there was a lot of other alternative negotiation discussions. You remember that Ukraine, for example, talked to Poland, and together with Poland, Romania and some other countries, together with Great Britain maybe, and to create a kind of alternative, quick actionable alliance or whatever. That could be more popular, by the way, from my opinion, Eastern European countries' unity, because most of the country really can defend, and they have somehow history with Russian aggression in different years, of course. But anyway, most of them has some experience with that. And I think, I don't know how do you see, but this also can bring extra benefit in terms of security, in terms of development, and many other directions. So I don't know, it will be very interesting. You are in the table, so you see different politicians, and what is discussed in terms of coming 5 to 10 years, new geopolitical architecture about this region? What is the main discussion?
First of all, I don't know exactly, you do it special or no, but you didn't mention something about China.
Yes, which is kind of a second big actor for a moment in the table.
Today here in Serbia we have one little point that take part in all this situation. It means that that all student protests began after the catastrophe in the railway station in Novi Sad, when they broken the station facade of the station broken and killed more 16 people. But nobody mentioned that this facade was renovated before by China companies. And China more and more take more and more participation in all European things. First of all, in Serbia, I may say that last year China signed a free trade agreement with Serbia. Today, Serbia one of the most a country where involved a lot of China credits and investments. So our future, I think, staying between 2 points: United States and China. Maybe we will see more stronger European Union as a player in this world, but today we have 2 of them. So let's see how it would be in the future. I think that first of all, Black Sea corridor would be very important for all of us. Because first of all, it's corridor from east to west and in the opposite direction. And in this case, we need to produce some kind of principles how to cooperate and work in this. One of Ukrainian politicians told that the best result of this war for Ukraine is dissolution of Russia. And really to give the possibility for, first of all, for Russian ordinary citizens to live in their country and to use their resources. If you will see in Ukraine today, we have a lot of representative of Russian minorities who signed this agreement and take part in this war from Russian side. They signed it not because they want to be killed in this war, but they need to money for their family. And at the second side, they are living in the territory with oil and gas. How they may be so poor. Maybe you remember a little bit Kuwait, and in Kuwait is always say where we have oil and we are rich or very rich. Why Russian poor or very rich? So they always joke with this. I may return back and say, if Russia try to change this structure and not to be empire and try to give the possibility to live for their people free in their country, it would be better for all of us. But really today, all need resources and markets. And in this case, Black Sea corridors would play a very important role, not only for Georgia and for whole country and the European Union. In my mind, we need to cooperate in some kind of agreement. It might be European Union agreement, it might be agreement for the free trade zone, it might be Black Sea economic cooperation. Let's see what kind of agreement would be, but we need it. We need it, but please give us an opportunity to stop Russian aggression and to renew our industry and the economy. Today it's very difficult to say about future.
I know. And then there's just very last quick question. I know that agreed timeline is almost finished, but in Georgia, a lot of experts are discussing that after this war, we could see that Russia will be kind of proxy of China, not so big imperialistic ambition country as we know before. I'm not sure what in Ukraine discussed about these terms, but we see that Xi Jinping influence, China influence is increasing day by day in Russia in most of the decisions, and I want to know what's in these terms in Ukraine are discussed.
You see, it's not only China. In my mind, sometimes I ask one question myself. If Mariupol steel factory would be under, the owner of this factory would be some international group. In this case, Russia would decide to begin this war now. The same situation. We are in some other structure of the world. Today, the finance group play more and more active role in all our states. Sometimes, if we mentioned before about this Transcaucasus corridor, who would be owner about the end of this war from Nord Stream pipeline? I think that who would be maybe you also read that some intention about to be owner of this corridor. And let's see how it will be. I'm not sure and that I am ready to give you more answer for this question, but really, we are living in some interesting situation. What does it mean state? What does it mean finance group? What does it mean president and so on? But we need to be more stronger and try to defend our lives and interests. So let's do it.
Let's do it. Mr. Ambassador, thank you for this opportunity, and once again, on behalf of the Georgian diaspora, we would like to wish Ukraine victory in this war and successful conclusion of these negotiations as soon as possible, because that's needed for Ukrainian citizens and that's needed for everyone, I think, who really support Ukrainians. So thank you again. Thank you very much. And Slava Ukraini.
Героям слава.